Welcome to BBC London. Coming up on the programme. As the cost of living continues to rise, the Londoners helping others save money by fixing everyday household items.
Some people didn't recover from that. Their houses, they couldn't move back into them. And ever since then, we've had that constant threat of potential flooding.
Also tonight.
Apply the soldering iron just at that end.
As the cost of living continues to rise, these are the Londoners helping others save money by fixing everyday household items. Plus, we meet 13-year-old Jessica, how your donations to children in need has changed young lives in the capital. And
as the Christmas light switch on continues, I'm at one of London's prettiest pubs, where it's hoped this installation may mean more people having a pint and a picture.
good evening to you. Now, the recent rainfall and flash flooding at the beginning of the month is a reminder of the need to protect the capital from heavy rains. Remember these devastating floods in Surrey and southwest London in 2014? Well, now a new project hopes to avoid the same scenes because the area is one of the country's biggest floodplains and more extreme weather is expected in future due to our changing climate. Here's our environment correspondent, Tom Edwards.
In 2014, most of this area was underwater. Thousands of homes and businesses were flooded as the Thames burst its banks. Mark Adams remembers it well.
Some people didn't recover from that. Their houses, they couldn't move back into them. And ever since then, we've had that constant threat of potential flooding. So, we're heading into a winter now. And every time it rains, people are looking out the window thinking, is this going to happen again?
And it's taken 8 years to get to this place. Would you have liked it to have happened quicker?
Yes, I mean, we have to accept that this is a major project. These things do take time to get the finances in place.
Yeah, we're at Chertsey at the moment. This is the M3 motorway as it just crosses the Thames.
The River Thames between Egham and Teddington is one of the largest areas of undefended floodplain in England. We went out onto the Thames this morning to see the early works. Eventually, 2 huge channels could divert floodwater from the Thames into the surrounding lakes. This map shows them in purple and orange. Why has it taken so long? 8 years does seem a long time.
It does seem a really long time, but this is a project of national importance. It's huge. It's a really big project, £600 million. You have to do a lot of survey work and really understand what you're doing. So there's engineers out there, there's ecologists finding out what's going on here. But also we had to get that money agreed, and that took a long time too. So we're just pleased we've got it done and that it's finally happening.
Green open spaces will also be created. And emphasising its importance, ecologists on the scheme recently found this mayfly larvae from a species not seen in the UK for decades.
We are resolving existing issues that people are living with day in, day out. So the risk of flooding, addressing that, addressing the biodiversity crisis, addressing the lack of green open space, addressing the lack of active travel. And what we will do through the River Thames scheme, which is a really integrated landscape scheme that we are designing, is we'll be addressing all of these different elements in one place.
This will be the biggest inland flooding scheme ever in the country. It'll cost £500 million. A public consultation is open until December the 20th. Tom Edwards, BBC London.
Now, could information about social media or mental health treatment help cut murder rates in the capital? That's what London's Violence Reduction Unit is hoping. Researchers have been delving into the data on some homicide files, looking at things such as whether the victim knew their killer and, crucially, if it highlights areas where police or other agencies might be able to intervene in future. Our Home Affairs correspondent Sonia Jessup is here, and you've got more on this, Sonia.
Yes, Riz, thank you. Well, there are currently around 130 homicides a year in London. Researchers have looked at 50 of them to see if the police files have patterns about when violence escalates. The Mayor's Violence Reduction Unit is behind this report, and here's why they think it's important.
It's given us a much greater level of clarity and detail about some of the causes that led up to the incident, both from a victim perspective and also obviously from a perpetrator perspective. And the interesting bit is then we're able to more accurately look at the interaction between those causes and to then use that to develop a framework.
So, what did researchers find? Well, mental health played a much bigger role in homicide than previously thought. The report recommends monitoring missed health appointments and making sure that other agencies are also aware. It also looked at how social media was involved, not just to make threats. Sometimes there was a build-up of controlling behaviour or stalking. Now, researchers say there needs to be more support too for young people if they're being targeted. And remember, youth violence is a huge problem in London. Last year, a record number of 30 teenagers were killed. But researchers also say we don't know enough about gang violence, and more police data is needed in those homicide files on the build-up and nature of that conflict. Now, it's hoped all of this research could help target early intervention schemes. Yvonne Lawson lost her son Godwin to knife crime. She says that's really important.
We do one-to-one mentoring with those young people, and we work on their self-esteem, all those key elements that's so crucial in developing young people and ensuring that they reach their fullest potential rather than getting into criminality. If we leave them to engage in criminality, it is far too late to get them back on track.
So what happens next? Well, researchers will now look at another 300 homicides. They'll continue trying to spot patterns with the aim of helping change policy, improve training and ultimately save lives.
Sonia, thanks very much. As we await to hear how the Chancellor's autumn statement on Thursday will affect our take-home pay, household budgets and money for key public services, the rising cost of living continues to affect us here in the capital. And in true community spirit, there are Londoners coming up with solutions to help save money. The Fixing Factory is one shop in Camden doing its bit not only to help combat rising costs, but also to help reduce household waste. Aisha Baksh has been finding out more.
It's a repair shop for everyday household goods.
Apply the soldering iron just at that end.
Dermot Jones created the Fixing Factory in Camden to help reduce electronic waste and show local people how their electronic devices and items can have a second life.
We had quite a mini avalanche of toasters, because that seems to be the main thing that people buy that don't last long and they end up failing. Quite a lot of kettles, which turn out to be a lot of the time irreparable. Quite a few kitchen food blenders, coffee grinders. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's come from people's kitchens, and also a few printers and a kind of smattering of laptops.
Locals can pop in when they want and are asked to pay what they can.
Oh, here we go, misbehaving bread maker.
Slightly dusty. I didn't want to throw it away because I left it on, which I don't usually, and I came back and it was dead. So it's just great that I can bring it somewhere to see if I can get a bit more life out of it.
And now, how do I reconnect this?
Volunteer fixers are also training local residents at the shop on Queen's Crescent.
It's a very good feeling, yeah, but it's a shared feeling because, you know, as I'm saying, there is a teaching element. So a lot of the times you will just tell them how you think you're going to do it, and the person might get involved with their screwdriver as well, you know, so it's a two people work. So at the end, it's a community positive feeling of we did it.
Any item that people have that lasts twice as long is half the natural resources used and, you know, half the cost, because people don't have to go and buy another one, and it's a win-win situation. So we help with saving the planet for natural resources, we help reduce CO2.
The Fixing Factory hopes one day every high street will be able to follow its lead and have a similar repair shop of its own. Aisha Baksh, BBC London.
Really interesting idea. The Fixing Factory doing its bit to help Londoners reduce household waste and save money. But what about some of the ways we can save money and say still have a day out in London, for example? Well, I'm joined by Londoner Ruth Taylor, a money blogger and founder of Money Savvy Mum UK. Welcome to the programme. Thanks for coming in. You know from personal experience about getting into debt, and that's how you became a money blogger. How did you pay off thousands of pounds in just 8 months?
Well, we'd never done a budget before. We were really struggling to pay our bills, to meet our mortgage payments, and we knew we couldn't go on the way we were going on. So we sat down, my husband and I, we did a budget together. We found that we had so much more money leaving every month than we had coming in. So we thought of ways that we could cut costs, and some of those ways were to negotiate our bill payments. I took on extra work. At that point, we were running a dog walking company, which we've built up. So we started working evenings, weekends. I started meal planning and took my list to the supermarket, made sure I was using the supermarket loyalty schemes to save money that way. There's a whole host of things
and
you can do.
selling unused items, you were saying as well.
So we sold things from around the house that we weren't using, and after that, when we ran out of things to sell, I'd go out and buy things and sell them on eBay, on Facebook Marketplace to make money.
And anyone that's getting into debt or already in debt knows just how much of an impact it can have on your mental health, and sometimes not having that clarity or that confidence to do the things that you're suggesting. What's your advice to them?
Being in debt affects every aspect of your life, your sleep, your relationships. You can't function. You're smiling on the outside, inside you're crumbling. But there are things you can do to get yourself out of debt. There's always hope, no matter how bad the situation. There are steps you can take to improve things. You don't always have to be in debt.
And what's your one biggest piece of advice in terms of, seeing a way forward, but also in terms of saving money? Because we know that people are being squeezed from every single angle.
So I would say make sure you're making use of the cashback apps. There's plenty of them, and if you're buying things anyway, it makes sense to try and get some of that money back. There's quite a few. You can earn money back from purchases online and in store as well, and that's helped us save so much money.
Lots to discuss, little time, but really appreciate that sort of synopsis of how you got out of debt, and also, things that people can do. Ruth Taylor, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's take a look now at some of the day's other news. An inquest has heard that Lamar Urquhart, the rapper caught in a Brixton high-speed car chase, was shot 8 times. The lead detective says police still don't know who is responsible. Deliveroo driver Guilherme Messias da Silva, who was 21, was also killed after he was knocked off his moped during the car chase. And a group of pensioners gathered at City Hall earlier today to call for an end to travel restrictions, which mean they can't use their free travel pass before 9 a.m. The perk was removed during lockdown. They want the mayor to reinstate the benefit. A final decision is due next month. We're going to talk about the polio vaccination now. All children aged between 1 and 9 have been offered an extra booster jab against the virus after traces were found in the sewage system in London during the summer. But latest figures suggest the uptake has been slow, with around 23% of kids in that age group fully vaccinated. I'll chat to a GP in just a moment. First, Guy Lynn reports from a vaccination clinic in North London.
Getting vaccinated against polio in Hornsey. Though there have been no cases in many years in London, those like Byron, originally from Ecuador, says he's leaving nothing to chance with his children.
It's more about prevention. In our country where we're from, we've seen examples of this kind of illness.
This queue and others like it around the capital comes after traces of the polio virus were found in London sewage. As in rare cases polio can cause paralysis, parents of 1 to 9-year-olds are being urged to get a polio booster.
We've been terribly responsive. We've brought in extra staff, extra vaccinators and assessors, and the queue is running much more smoothly tonight, and we would urge everyone to come along and have their kids vaccinated.
It was all plain sailing here, but still 1 or 2 questions.
But I don't know how prevalent it has become in the community at the moment. What side effects do it have? I don't know what the side effects are.
Maybe not fun, but definitely no side effects for this 4-year-old. London's medical professionals still want others like her to come forward. Guy Lynn, BBC London.
And GP Dr Oge Ilozwe is here with me. She's also a senior clinical advisor to the NHS on their vaccination rollouts. Very good evening to you. Can I start first of all, because we have had a question sent in by Lisa, and she says, why haven't people who are in high-risk categories been offered the polio booster? And let's just confirm who is in the high-risk category.
Of course. So thank you so much for having me on. So in the summer, we started a campaign aimed at London's children, 1 to 9-year-olds, because our Joint Committee for Vaccination and Immunisation, they're the ones that set who we should target, that they're the ones we should target to, even if they've been fully vaccinated, have a top-up supplementary dose. And especially those who aren't up to date with their vaccines, we're really keen to invite them in to get their jabs.
How does somebody know if they are up to date, whether it's an extra booster or whether it's, there's more than one shot that they have to have?
Indeed. So if you have your red books, most people who, born in the UK are given a red book, and we note all the vaccines the children have had in there. So if you're not sure, check that red book. If you still have questions, our practice nurses in our practices, GP practices, are fantastic and wealth of information. So you can always book in an appointment to check with them.
So to answer that question, why haven't people who are in high-risk categories been offered the polio booster? Should they be asking their GP?
So most adults who have gone through the schedule here would have had their polio vaccines as a child. Hence why we're focusing on the children age group for this campaign.
OK. Let's pick up on a question that we saw in Guy's report. How widespread is polio here? Because wasn't it eradicated back in the 80s, I think?
Absolutely. The last case of polio was in 1984 or thereabouts, so we don't want to see another case in the UK. Europe was declared polio-free in 2003, so vaccination has been highly effective at preventing us getting this illness, and we don't want to see it again in the UK. So at the moment, it's not been seen as an actual disease in a person, but we've detected vaccine-derived poliovirus in the sewage, hence why in London, North and East London in particular, hence why we're keen to roll out this booster campaign.
So you've found traces of it, but you're trying to prevent any case, is that right?
We don't want any cases in the UK again.
Okay. Something else, just picking up in that report, what are the side effects of the polio vaccine?
So we've been using it for decades and decades. Really safe, really effective. The most common side effects, you may get a sore arm, maybe a little bit run down for a few days, but a little bit of paracetamol, extra rest, and should set you right. So very, very few side effects.
And for any parent that's worried about their child having the vaccine, what advice can you offer them?
So vaccination against this awful infectious diseases is the most effective way to protect. There is no cure for polio. We haven't seen polio here, so we don't know what it's about, but it can cause devastating illness. And the only way prevention is better than cure is what my mother says, and we want to prevent the illness in the first place. And vaccination is our best way to do that.
OK. Dr Oge Ilozwe, thank you for coming in. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Thanks for being with us. Still to come before 7. Countdown to Christmas as festive lights start twinkling in the capital. We'll be at the pub hoping to attract Londoners and Instagrammers with its efforts. OK, it is time for the bear because Pudsey is getting ready for Children in Need Night this Friday. And this week, we wanted to highlight how your fundraising and donations have helped change so many young lives right across the capital. So thank you. Tonight, Nikki Ford has been to meet 13-year-old Jessica and find out how an outdoor activity centre in East London can make such a difference to a child's life.
On your marks, get set.
A kayaking race around Shadwell Basin. These youngsters with disabilities are taking part in a specially designed programme to learn outdoor sports.
Hello, my name's Jessica. I've been at Shadwell Basin for 3 years now. It has been fun.
13-year-old Jessica has discovered a love of the water.
I enjoy it because I have lovely teachers. In the summer, I jumped in and I loved that.
Life hasn't always been fun for her. As a baby, she didn't develop as expected.
We found out that she was missing all her milestone development, and she wasn't like rolling around when she was supposed to, and she wasn't talking or sitting up straight.
She was diagnosed with the condition global developmental delay, which significantly affects her physical and mental abilities.
It's like the end of the world. As a mom, all I wanted for her is to be healthy and happy, and I suppose that's all what all mums want. And to learn that she has this condition and she won't be able to, I mean, she will never be the same as all the other children and never have the same opportunities like the other kids. It's heartbreaking.
Right, off we go.
But then, through friends at school, she found out about Shadwell Basin Outdoor Activity Centre, where they teach the children high roping, rowing, paddleboarding and sailing, all with adapted equipment.
So she started just quite shy. She didn't really want to ever get wet. When she was climbing, she never went up really high. But now she's like completely changed that around. Her water confidence is like skyrocketed.
The project is paid for out of Children in Need funding.
They don't have a lot, but like this is their only place that they can feel themselves and feel free and do the activities. A really good day is when they all leave with a big smile on their face and they're like, thank you so much.
I am happy and relieved that she can, find this place and she can find happiness and peace in herself.
Nikki Ford finding out how the money you raised is put to good use. And don't forget, we want to hear if you'll be fundraising and getting involved in Children in Need this Friday. Get in touch with us on social media, or you can email the address there, hello BBC London, I should say, at bbc.co.uk. Now, you may have noticed the Christmas lights and festive displays springing up in and around the capital. And one pub in West London has been turning on their big display, hoping to attract Londoners and Instagrammers looking for that perfect Christmas photo this year. Let's join Matt Graveling, who's soaking up the sparkles. Matt?
Well, Riz, I've been lucky enough to do the Oxford Street switch on. Yesterday we were at an ice rink. I hoped if I waited long enough, you might get me to a pub. This is the Churchill Arms, but first, let's take care of a little bit of business. That's a little bit better, isn't it? And when this bus goes by, you will be able to see that 150,000 LEDs and 48 Christmas trees make up the outside of what they're calling their biggest installation ever. We're going to talk to the manager in just a second, but for people who don't know the Churchill Arms, well, it's become quite famous really for floral displays around the exterior of the pub since 1986. People come from far and wide to see it, and they switch it throughout the seasons as well to keep it nice and fresh for people, and it's very, very Instagrammable, of course. Right, but of course they've changed their flowers for fir trees for the festivities, so let's now bring in James Keogh. He is the manager of the Churchill Arms. How long does this take to put up?
Oh, it ranges from 6 weeks to do the actual installation of all the trees, all the Christmas lights, all the decorations. But the planning is like before the summer, would you believe? Why we have all the summer blooms up? We're planning Christmas, and we love Christmas.
It's been such a difficult couple of years with lockdown restrictions for the hospitality industry. Pubs are no different. How important is it this year?
More so than ever. We want to bring people together. We want to uplift their spirits. No better way than what we do here with the Christmas decorations and the lights. We want to inspire people, and this is our way of doing it.
Thank you very much, James. And their official big opening with a secret celebrity is on December the 8th. But as James said, it's an important couple of months now for the industry. And we've seen some statistics which say that actually in December on a normal year across the UK, pubs bring in over £2 billion worth. That's about 10% of an average pub's income. You won't be surprised to know a lot of that is beer, and next month we're expected to consume around 360 million pints. It's a lot of beer. But sadly, apparently at the current time, bookings for Christmas are down by about 20%. So if you are able, go and support your local pub. Right, this is how the Churchill Arms do it. The final thing from me is, We want to see how you're dressing your businesses. Have you put up the decorations just yet? Well, if you have, we want to see a picture. Send them to hello BBC London at bbc.co.uk. Whether you're a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker, it doesn't matter. Send us your pictures and show us how you're seeing in the season. Riz.
Yes, I think you've been outdone though, Matt, with that Christmas jumper. Well, someone who is always sparkly is, of course, Kate, and she's here with the weather, and that's despite today's weather.
Yes, not so sparkly today, Riz, but by the end of the week, we might have something sparkly on the floor by Saturday, but I'll get onto that. Today, we woke up to a rather gloomy start, lots of cloud around. We had some really heavy and persistent rain around as well first thing today, but gradually by lunchtime, it started to clear to this, and you can see the rain clearing away, some blue sky just breaking out as we headed into the afternoon. So it has been a mixture of sunshine and showers. Those showers have been quite heavy. We still are going to get some more overnight tonight. Clearer spells to start with, then further showers, more frequent showers coming up from the south, and they could be quite heavy. Still blustery overnight. Temperatures under the clearer spells, you'll notice they're around 5 Celsius, so actually feeling quite chilly. Now for Wednesday, more showers, especially first thing tomorrow morning and down in the south. Again, they could be quite heavy. You might even hear a rumble of thunder in those showers tomorrow. Still quite blustery. The wind starts to strengthen out in the distance. We've got a low pressure system just starting to build momentum. Now, temperatures tomorrow getting up to 13 Celsius. Now, you'll notice there in the background, we've got a little bit of rain coming in towards the evening. Now, that has warranted a Met Office yellow weather warning for heavy rain overnight, largely down towards the south and east, but everywhere is going to get it. The warning is there because we could be seeing 15 to 25 millimetres more rain on already saturated ground. The southeast, of course, got more rain last week, so could cause localised flooding. It will clear. We've got a very gusty wind overnight as well, 30, 40 mile per hour gusts, and showers again to follow into Thursday morning. Minimum temperatures around 7 or 8 Celsius. So we've got some showers in place for Thursday morning, but they should start to clear, and we'll get some sunshine as we head through Thursday afternoon. Things start to settle down a little bit. We've got some high pressure building, but you'll notice Friday into Saturday, yes, we've got the sunshine, but the wind drops, it falls light overnight. The temperature drops down into very low single figures. So that's sparkly weather I was talking about, widespread frost on Saturday morning. Riz.
Thanks very much, Kate. There's more on the day's news, of course, on our website, where also, if you missed it, check out The Londoner, who's a full-time miniaturist, creating a mini home in her rented place, but dreams of owning a real one day. Her artwork is incredible. From me and everyone here on the team, thanks very much for watching and enjoy your Tuesday evening. Bye-bye for now.